I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
Welcome back to another Feels Like Home podcast episode here in season 4. And we're excited tonight to have Alana Beverly. You'll hear me butcher it during the episode, so I apologize. Alana's hosting her own podcast, and I'll let her explain all that. But we're excited to, number one, welcome her into the podcast family, and then just to kind of help promote what she's doing. She's spending a lot of time providing hope and unity to people, and I think it's fabulous. And so we're excited to have Alana Beverly on with us this week. We are very excited tonight to have, I don't want to say a new member to the podcast fraternity because that's too patriarchal.
Yeah.
She's part of the podcast sorority. Yeah. Is that right? I mean, I know that's that's kind of sexist too. Yeah. She's just a podcaster and she's new. Cut all that other stuff out. Yeah. Alana Beverly is with us.
Alana.
I even practiced the start over. All right, we are going to start over. Alana.
It's like Atlanta without the T's.
It's like Alana.
You know what? You've obviously explained that many times in your life.
A million.
Yep. To have that little nugget, that's a good one.
I'm just going to keep it in there, and then if I say Alana moving forward again, you can yell at me.
Okay.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Alana.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this started awkward. Well, we're excited to have you on there because I think because one, you're a very interesting person, and two, you are now doing your own podcast. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you introduce all of that because I'll probably pronounce it wrong. So,
well, I started a podcast called Pour It Out with Alana Beverly. And I am 10 episodes in, just finished my 11th. It'll go out tomorrow. And it's fun. I don't know. What do you...
Podcasting is fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. And kind of describe what it is because I don't, if you're not a listener of the podcast, and so, you know, I always talk about people have different niches and some things that work for me that I listen to, you don't listen to, whatever. So explain a little bit about the podcast.
So I have a heart to just hear people's stories. I think that we all have a story. We have a reason why we are the way we are. And when you hear somebody's story, it helps you understand them better. And so I've just always had a passion for it. So that's what my podcast is. It's hearing people's stories. And then also I have a pastor come on each month and they share. And then every now and then I'll hop on and I'll just share something. And we have something fun or something. So it's just a little bit of everything. I have a heart for unity, and that's what I want to bring to the table. And so by having different pastors on and getting their voices out there for people who may otherwise never hear them or listen to them or even step foot inside a church, they have an opportunity to hear the different pastors that we have. And to also just hear stories of people that you do life with all the time that you may never have actually connected with otherwise.
So at this point, you're saying you're 11 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of the things that you've discovered in those first 11 episodes that you weren't expecting by starting a podcast?
I think how much fun I would have. Honestly, I knew I would like it. I knew I would enjoy it, but it really is a lot of fun. And I kind of reached out because I don't have sponsorships, but I do have partnerships with different downtown businesses. And I think for that was one of the things that surprised me was I didn't think people would necessarily say no, but how easily they said yes and how easily, I mean, both of them, I have 3. But 2 out of the 3, when I asked, they were like, absolutely yes. And then the other one reached out to me and said, hey, we want to help. and we want to do whatever we can. So I think that has been the most surprising. Like I said, I didn't expect them to say no, but just how much they wanted to support.
Yeah, I was just say it surprises us too. I mean, we run through that same thing when we started. I think we got to the end of the first season and we were surprised how much we really enjoyed just how Mike and I's relationship grew, our friendship grew. I felt like we were always pretty close, but we do have kind of separate lives. Like we don't hang out all the time. But
he moved into his house and I immediately moved out of the neighborhood.
So I moved here and he left the neighborhood. I was like, what? I was like checking, do I stink? What's going on?
Like, geez.
But it really did impact our relationship and our friendship. And we just went so much deeper because we were having deep conversations with people on the podcast. And it all stemmed from the deep conversations we had when we would go to concerts and things like that. So I'm not surprised that you're enjoying that. Podcasting is fun. It's probably a little more work than most people expect. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I think it didn't surprise me because I'd done tons of research and I kept warning Mike about that. Like most podcasts don't live past 4 episodes because people find out how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the fact that you made it to 11, that's awesome.
Yeah. Are you, how have you plotted out like, the first 20 or whatever, like, or do you have a list of people that you're trying to get in and that's how you draw from that? Or is it just kind of somebody comes to your mind and
kind of both?
Yeah.
And I guess my biggest challenge has been schedules, trying to find a good time for schedules and getting people in. That's been my biggest, because I think the first few were so easy. And it was like, hey, I want to have this person. I'd reach out, they'd get right on. And it was so easy. And then by like episode 5, I was like, oh, this isn't that easy.
Yeah, trust me, we know. That's exactly what. And I think, for us, this is season 4 for us. And I think we've also, like, the first season, it was like, oh, yeah, we know a million people. And then, and there have been people that we've reached out to that for whatever reason haven't gotten on. And then you just like, you lose them as an idea. Right. And so we still have to circle back to some of those, but yeah, it definitely becomes more challenging the further you go, but it's also pretty fulfilling when you just happenstance find somebody and you're like, oh man, this was a home run.
Yeah. So. And then I guess to answer your question a little bit more too, I had it planned out through this year. So I've got the rest of November planned, December planned. I'm going to take January off. And then, so I haven't really started thinking about the first of the year a whole lot yet. I have people in mind of who I want. But as far as getting them mapped out into what months I want them and stuff, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah. And number one, I applaud you for taking a break. I think it's a very important thing. It's very important for us. We get done with the 20 episodes and I don't want to say like we're exhausted. It's not that much work.
Right.
But the process of doing the podcast, having a job, having a family, having the other things that you do in the course of a week. Marty's a worship leader. He does other things related to his job. That's a lot. And so when you get to the end of the week, you're just kind of like, you get to the end of the season, you're like, exhale. Like we just came off a break, right? So there's a part of me that is very relieved. And then there's a part of me that is itching to get back to work, So that's the fun part. It was
funny how our break happened this time between 3 and 4. Mike is like, hey, I think we need to take a break. And I'm like, sure, man, whatever we need. I'm going to make sure that we accommodate like family, the kids, you got trips planned, whatever. And I think we were on break for about a week and he's like, hey man, I think I've got like 4 people lined up. When are we going to get back to recording? I was like, hey, I've got the podcast studio tour part. Like, let me put that back together. And it's taken us a little bit of time. I mean, we've been off almost 2 months.
Just about
7 weeks, 8 weeks. And both of us, the last couple of weeks, we've been really itching to get back in front of the mic.
How did you sort of come down to the idea of, I really want this to be people sharing your stories? Was that a process for you, or was that always in your mind?
So probably, it's been a good, probably 10 years ago, somebody asked me, like, what's your dream job? And I said, to sit around and drink coffee and listen to people's stories and get paid for it. That was I'm not getting paid for it, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But so it's just always been there. I've always loved listening to people's stories. I'm an only child. My parents are older. I'm adopted. And so they, when they got me, they were older. And so I just was always around adults because their friends' kids were older than me. And so anytime we would go hang out at their house and stuff, the kids weren't around. So I was always around adults. I was always, the church I grew up in was an older crowd. And so I was always around older people, always around adults. And so I got used to listening to people's stories and hearing, stories of how they grew up and, raised their kids and all the things. And so I just always had an appreciation for it. And so I always wanted to do it. And so it started about 3 or 4 years ago is when podcasting, I didn't realize it was a thing.
Yeah.
And so somebody introduced me to a podcast and I listened to it and I said, that woman is doing exactly what I want to do. Like, she's living my dream. And so I kind of looked into it. And it was way over my head at the time. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And so I talked to a friend and she was like, well, start small, do a Facebook group. So I started a Facebook group for women and I shared just little devotions and stuff I would read in my quiet time and I would share, and built this little community. And she had said that, build a community, get people together, and then you can start a podcast from there. Well, I was completely discouraged with the idea of a podcast. So I was like, I'll do this Facebook group and that's it.
Yeah.
And then about a year ago, or last year, so not quite a year, I was talking to Jade Berry, who's, the biggest dreamer in the world. And she asked, I had told her about the podcast idea months before. And so she was like, well, how's the podcast going? And I was like, I'm not doing it. And so she just challenged me on it and said, I think you need to do it. I think you need to step out. And so for the next few months, over and over and over in my head, her voice played. And so I kind of looked into it again. And the beauty of it all of the pandemic was podcasting became a bigger thing because that's kind of when things blew up a little bit. And so there were resources available and it was a lot more achievable and doable. And so I looked into it again and was like, oh, I could probably do this. And so here we are.
Yeah, that's a neat aspect of the story because, I listened to podcasts long ago when they first became a thing. And, that's how I found Rob Bell when he was at Mars Hill. I listened to all of his sermons. I live 6 hours away, whatever, right? So how am I going to listen to that? And then I would pick up other folks, Craig Rochelle and all these other folks over time. And then it kind of died off as a thing, but then I would still listen to a podcast here and a podcast there. And so like you in 2020 or so, I started walking every day. And I didn't always want to listen to music. I wanted to kind of like feed my mind while I was feeding my body, and that's what I did. And so I picked up all these different ones. I was mostly listening to true crime at the beginning, and then I started getting depressed because I felt like the whole world was out to get me somehow,
Right.
And so then I was like,
well, you're looking over your shoulder.
Let me think about some more positive things, So I picked up on some spirituality things and some leadership things and things like that. And so I think it's interesting how many people have now picked it back up because of what happened during the pandemic. That's fascinating to me, Yeah. And so, you talking about being, really, you're like a conduit for people's stories is interesting to me as a storyteller. And I think it's fascinating. I don't know some of the people, Andrea, don't know her, listened to it, gained a lot from her story. And so these are all people that and you've kind of thought of as always having great stories, but now you're just pulling them in and saying, tell everybody.
Yeah. And people like her, especially, there's people like Jade, I'll use her as an example again, where everybody knows her.
Right.
We do coffee once a week, and literally we sit down, and between the two of us, we don't get a whole lot of talk time because we've got everybody coming over to us at roast. Yeah. And so, there's her, but then there's people that, are quiet and are introverted and stuff, but who have powerful stories, who have, walked with the Lord and who have seen miracles and breakthroughs, or just, live a life of consistency and faithfulness, that I'm like, people need to see that. They need to see that example, but they wouldn't know it otherwise because they're not out in the community, and they don't have the big personalities that other people do.
Yeah. What would you say to someone that's not necessarily spiritually minded, who would say, that's just a God podcast, and I don't really want to listen to that? Is there a way that you think it would still be helpful to them?
I think that we live in a culture, especially post-pandemic, where we need hope. And so regardless if you call yourself a believer of Jesus, or what you think of religion, or what you think of that, we all need hope. We need something to know that, it's not as dark as what it seems, and that there is still good in the world. And that's what I want people to know, that as hard as it may get, there's still something, there's still hope. There's still a reason to have hope. And so that's what my heart is that as you hear people's stories, you'll see sometimes things work out really great and you get that fairy tale ending. And sometimes, like with Andrea, she hasn't gotten her answer yet. She hasn't gotten her miracle yet, but she's still able to get up every day with a smile on her face.
Yeah. And to me, that was the most compelling part of her story, because I kept waiting at the end to hear this great, home run golden ribbon on the story. And then there wasn't one, but that's reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, we need a lot of that. We've never come on this show and said, all right, these people are going to come in, they're just going to answer all your questions. Like, there are some questions that we still wrestle with, right? Yeah. And we have to. And I think it's important to admit that to people and say, we don't always have it figured out, or we don't always get the answer that we want, which is another big one.
Yeah.
And I think those are all really important things,
And I think the podcast has a chance of having success when it's just real.
Yeah.
I think that you kind of lay stuff out there. And like Mike said, the perfect ending didn't happen, but there still doesn't mean that there's not hope in that story. And that's the important story to tell. Right. Yeah. So, and I think that that's what will bring people back to listen to the next episode. We get feedback all the time. That's great. It's really humbling for us when people say, I love the stories you get to tell. And we're like, we're lucky to be in the room with the person telling them that. And that's the beauty of what we get to do. So it's, I look forward to what's to come. I've listened up to this point, but like what's to come for your podcast? Where does it grow? How do you become a better storyteller in your conversations with your guests? Mm. That's the exciting piece.
And I think for me too, it's what's most exciting is these people are here in our community. Right. They're not from, hours away. They're not from, people who you aren't going to run into. These are people who your kids play sports together. They go to school together. You pass them in Kroger. And so it's people that you do life with that you don't realize you do life with. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted was, maybe someday it will get to where I'm telling stories of people that are, way out in the world. But for right now, I wanted it to be within the community. And so that way, when Andrea is sitting with her kids at practice, there's going to be another mom who can connect with her and say, hey, I need some of that hope. Yeah. I need some of that, and would be able to connect with her in a way that she wouldn't have been able to had she not listened to the podcast, had she not been able to tell her story.
Right. Yeah. And I think sometimes making connections for people is really important for this, because I know Beth Elliott, but I didn't really know about that story of 40 plus years of friendship. And it does make me sit and think about my own relationships, my own friendships, not in a comparison sense, but in a hopefulness that, 20 or 30 years from now, we'll still be doing maybe not this, but something else. And Marty and I will be hanging out together, Yeah. And it's those things, like you say, give us hope. I'm also interested in your message of unity, because I think we are increasingly a fragmented world. There are always cracks in the foundation. But the world seems to figure out ways to drive water through those cracks and make them deeper. And so I'm interested in how you kind of came about with that theme of unity and trying to get that, and how you think that you can carry that forward.
I think that, again, we live in a culture that says, if you don't believe everything the same as somebody else, then you just can't have a relationship with them, or they don't have anything to offer you.
Right.
You vote differently, you go to different denomination, church, whatever that is. So therefore, you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican, we can't be friends.
Right.
Or I'm Methodist, you're a Baptist, we can't be friends. And that's not true. I don't have to align with you on 100% of the things, but that doesn't mean that I can't grow from you, or that doesn't mean that we can't connect, or that doesn't mean that we can't challenge each other. And so that's what I want. I want it to be more of like, how do you connect with people? What do you not even necessarily have in common, but just how can you connect? How can you bridge that gap? And how can you bridge that divide? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. We made a conscious decision not to get super political on this show. We've made a decision not to bring in people that were going to be divisive. But I also understand that sometimes when you have people on, they're polarizing to a certain degree, right? And I think that, we try to take a lot of that out of it by the people that we select and the things that we talk about. We found kind of early on, like we did a few episodes where it was just us talking, and we joked that they're the least played episodes out of all of them. So the audience has decided for us what they want us to do. And that's fine by us. The audience will lead you to where you want to go, especially in the beginning when you don't necessarily know what you're doing, And so,
and I think that's the important piece, that you find your way. You listen to feedback, you take the critiques wherever those come from. And obviously you can't rely on all of that, because you will run into people who will not have good things to say regardless. It doesn't matter. And they probably haven't even listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
But take the feedback and then improve, find ways to get better. And I think that was the one thing that we stayed flexible season 1. And we felt like we hit our stride, I don't know, midway through season 2, possibly.
Yeah. That's fair.
And we've done a few of those episodes where it was just Mike and I. We're like, hey, we don't have a guest this week. Hey, let's wrap up something. We'll make it a smaller show. And it's not that those shows don't do well from a download standpoint, but it's obvious when we bring in somebody who people are interested in and they want to hear their story. It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you could probably feel it, right? When you're talking to somebody and you're like, this one people are going to resonate with, because you can think of 5 or 6 people, right? Yeah. This is big. Verizon Fiber Internet is ready.
Let them get you hooked up and power your Wi-Fi network
with the speed and reliability that only a 100% fiber network can do.
Verizon is ready to help you do what you do better, with real people, real rates, and a real service.
Connect with them today, and the first month is free, plus no contracts and no data caps. Call 740-772-8331
or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe
to sign up today.
And then I've had a few where I've done it by myself, which, that the two of you doing it together is huge, because you have each other. Whereas, there was one week I had it planned to do it by myself. And then there was another week where schedules just did not line up at all. And, so it was, do I just skip a week or do I try to improvise? And, it was something I wrestled with literally to the last minute. I recorded it like 9:00 on Wednesday night and posted it.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it's a learning grace, learning to give yourself grace and say, I have a goal of, I don't want to take a break until here. But then obviously life happens. So do I take a break anyway and just suck it up and deal with it? Or do I plow through and try to make something happen? And so there will be times where I will just have to suck it up and take a break. But then I felt like, okay, well, I can do this. And so I threw it out there. But those ones are hard. Doing it by yourself is,
everything relies on you.
Yeah. I think for us, we did them early on, so I think it was easy for us. But if we were to do it now, we go anywhere from 35 to 45 to 50 minutes in this thing, sometimes longer. And if we put out something I think we'd be hard pressed to get 25 minutes out of the two of us.
Right.
So, how do we, how do we do that? So I think it's important to have things to say, but in all honesty, the world is lousy with opinions, right?
Right.
And the last thing we need is for me to come on and speak from my ignorance about something that I think I know a lot about.
Yeah.
So, I think for something like what you do, which is a little different, you've probably meditated and spiritually considered a lot of what you would do as a solo host that week. Whereas, if somebody came to us and said, let's talk about the election results, we would just be like, well, nope. Wow, that sucked for some and was great for others. Wow, I'm really adding to the conversation here now, right? Why add to the noise?
Right.
And I think,
Mike, you missed the perfect opportunity to do your Chris Farley imitation that you used the other night.
Oh yeah.
We have men's group on Monday nights and he went into that. Yeah. Some people interview well and some people don't. And the Chris Farley skit on SNL when he's like, so you're a baseball player. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was the one that I always fall back to is when he interviewed Paul McCartney, and he was like, "So, when you were on the Beatles, that was cool.
That was cool.
do you remember when you did Let It Be?
That was awesome.
Because nobody wants to hear that, right?
Yeah, that's not the question that somebody wants to ask Paul McCartney.
I think we all need to have a pact in this room. If we hear the others doing that we're going to just hit the button for them.
Call
tell
us
them
out.
It's time to eject.
Yeah,
okay?
That's right.
Take a break.
I listened to a podcast from Think Media, and they're a podcast, YouTube creators, content creation, and Sean Cannell rhymes with YouTube channel. He says that all the time.
Kind of like Alana is like Atlanta.
Yeah, without the T.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying that over and over so I don't get it wrong.
But he talks about how the key to a successful podcast is consistency. And that's across the board, consistency. So you're posting consistently, you're creating consistent content. Even though the show might change a little bit over time, it's your audience is getting a consistent product. When they come listen to you, they know what they're in for, and that's what brings them back. And so, not just releasing a podcast every week. That's impossible. We have moments where we're just like, hey, it's not going to happen. And he talks a lot about, sometimes maybe Mike needs to go on by himself if the schedule's too crazy and you still need to create. Maybe it's a show that Mike does by himself. But we've kind of not really made a pact, but just mutually agreed that no, this is our thing and we're committed to it.
Yeah.
And so there are moments when Mike is like, I'll be there 15 minutes late because I've got this tonight. I'm like, well, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Or I can't do Wednesday night. for the recording, but I could do Thursday. And so,
or afternoon or something like that.
And those are important things. Those decisions are important because we know the end product is important to us and it's important to our listeners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the exciting part, that we have people who have expectations of us with this show. And that's a little nerve wracking, but it's what we signed up for when we decided to be Feels Like Home.
Do you feel like your audience reaches out? Do you get communication back yet?
I do. I have, and it's very new, so it's not a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
But I have about 3 or 4 people who, so it goes out, I post it, and it goes out to the world midnight on Thursdays every week. And so about 6, 7 o'clock, I have a good 3 or 4 people who every Thursday I can count on. They've sent me a message of, this is what I loved, this is why I loved it, and it's amazing. And then the rest trickles in here and there. And, I listened to this, it was great. I listened to this, whatever. But I've got a good 3 or 4 that every single week I know I can count on them to, I'm like, if nobody else listens to this, these 4 people did, and they will give me their feedback, their honest feedback and it's not just, hey, great podcast. It's, this is what I took from it.
Yeah.
This is what,
meaningful.
Yeah.
That is important feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lots of people, like my whole family is like, hey, great podcast. Like, I don't even believe you listened to it. Right.
Who did I have on last week?
Yeah. But that's great feedback.
Yeah.
And I know, it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers. When in the beginning, we had no idea. Like, we have no idea how many people are going to listen to this podcast. And so we
knew we'd have 2 because we both listened to it.
Yeah. Because to make sure that we didn't say something stupid that we need to edit out.
We'd get much more than that. So
yeah, we were being realistic up front. We're like, we don't know who's going to listen to this podcast, but we know we're doing it for a reason. And so those 3 or 4 people, that feedback is important, but I guarantee that there's more people listening to it than that. Right. It's just, some people don't reach out.
Yeah.
And then it's surprising the ones that reach out that you're like, I never would have thought that you would listen to this. Yeah. And those are the fun ones.
Yeah.
The messages that I get there was one a few weeks ago who said, I've listened to every single episode. This one was my favorite, and here's why. And I told my husband, I said, I had no idea they were even listening to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not super close. We're not, it's not somebody in my close circle that I would expect it from. And so it threw me, but it was even more encouraging because I was like, I didn't expect that from you.
Yeah. Well, and those are the happy surprises, right?
Yeah.
To coin that
for sure.
Bob Ross phrase or whatever. But that, in all honesty, you just never know.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the cool thing about that, probably especially for you because of the nature of your podcast, is you never know whose story is going to impact who else.
Right.
And make some change. Just like you said, Andrea may get support from somebody she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
That other person may get something out of that they don't know. Right.
Yeah.
And that's super important to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm somebody, I'm not I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Enneagram, but I'm an Enneagram 2. And is that what you are? I would have known that for sure.
I don't know. I don't know what you are. So.
I can guess.
An Enneagram 2. So,
but so I don't do surface level conversations. I go deep with people, which is why I know so many people's stories, because when I have conversations with people, it's not just, hey, how are you? It's, we go deep. And so, being able to pull those out and to share those, it brings me joy.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And to be able to share it with the rest of the world, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Well, and again, when you're talking to people that you know or that are from your neighborhoods, your city, your county, whatever, I think that's what we decided early on. Like, we were going to make this about bringing people in to an experience that they didn't know about, a person they didn't know about. And, we think we've been successful at it. But, we also have remained real open to the idea that this may not be the format that we do forever.
Right.
I think you gotta leave something out there for the next challenge. So, and I think that's good.
Some of my favorite things, as we've sat around the table talking to people, is when we hit the stop button and people go, "Oh my gosh, that was great!" Like, not just like the environment caused them to open up, and they weren't expecting themselves to open up. Yeah, right. And like that's what I find is special about what we get to do. When you watch somebody who walked in and was super nervous and was like, "I'm not so sure about this," and then Mike makes a couple jokes at the beginning, and we're 20 minutes into the conversation, and it just dawned on them that we're recording. Yeah. And that those have been special moments.
Yeah. Has that been your experience too? Like you get people to loosen up a little bit?
It has. And then, so mine, it is a Christian podcast, and so it is, but, I don't ever want to push Jesus. That's not my heart. That's not my intention. But there's been a few where I have really felt in the moment that they need to pray. And so at first I was like, when it first happened, I was like, I can't have them pray on my podcast. That's going to turn people off. And oh my gosh, that's going to be way over the top and way too spiritual. And, but I just really felt like I was supposed to. So I went with it, and it ended up being, in the moment, I felt it. And in the moment it was something shifted. And then even when we hit stop, we were able to sit and have a conversation that went even deeper, and we were able to connect even more. And so that's been really special for me. Yeah. And it's been people that I wouldn't expect it from. Yeah.
Authenticity and genuineness on a podcast is everything. Yeah. If you feel fake, the audience does not come with it. They don't care. They see fake and unrealistic all the time. Right? Yeah. So what do they want to know? They don't want to listen to it on their car radio on the way to work.
Yeah. Know? And that's not me. That's just I will never be the fake person. What you see is what you get. Yeah. And so that's, when people sit down at my table, that's what I hope they're bringing too.
Yeah. Right. Yep. People are giving up 40 to 60 minutes of their life to listen to what you have to say. And so we don't take that responsibility lightly. Yeah. It's important to us that we put a quality product out there, and that we're authentic, but we're open to, like you being, I think your format allows for that to happen. Yeah. Like people coming in, they know what you're about. 'Cause you don't hide that about yourself. So. Yeah.
And it's at my house, it's at my dining room table, and it's, a lot of them are done in the morning. So it's like, you don't have to come in with your makeup done. You don't have to come in all done up. You just come and sit, and I got coffee for you. And, so it's not a done up atmosphere where it's like everything's prim and proper and you've got to have your best face on and your best foot forward. You just
like here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You just come in your sweats, and I got coffee for you. And so we'll just
I should have had coffee for you. I apologize.
That's right. Yeah. Do you drink coffee this late in the evening?
It depends. Sometimes.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't.
I'm at that age now where
I quit offering. I'm like, I've got an espresso machine up there. I'm like, hey, you guys want coffee? And anybody that comes on the show, they're like, yeah, man, it's too late.
We have the wrong people in here. We need these young 20-year-olds that are unaffected by caffeine.
Too funny.
You mentioned earlier your husband, and I want to give you a chance to talk about your family, because I think your family is super important to you. Yeah. And you mentioned, so you guys are Enneagram 2s. I'm also an adopted kid, so like I share that with you. But that's an important part of your story, I'm sure. So talk a little bit about your family and just the way that they're handling all this newfound stardom for our friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, my parents, so I'm adopted. I was adopted at 14 months from India. And my parents are here in the community, Greg Smith and Kay Mathana. And I'm an only child. And so then I married Randre Beverly, who is one of 8. And we've got 2 kids, Araya, who is 10, and Caleb, who is 6. And so they're at the age, they don't care.
Yeah. And Randre's father is Randy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Randy's one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Yeah.
Anytime I see him, he's got a hug for me and wants to know more. We were walked to Emmaus together.
Yeah.
And so
I did music on his as well.
I mean, my goodness. So I have great respect for Randy and Randre and everybody. Like, I just love those guys. So,
yeah. They're good people.
Yeah.
I think I'll keep them.
You went from a small family to a big family.
Yeah,
I did.
I
did.
Wow.
And you know what? As an only child, I prayed about that when I was little. Like, I mean, I didn't have even a real super solid relationship with the Lord, but you just pray for those things. My favorite show growing up was Seventh Heaven. And so it was like, so the siblings, and I was like, I want a lot of siblings.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen. I want nieces and nephews. And that's not going to happen because I don't have any siblings. And so I said, like, I'm going to have to marry somebody that has a lot of them. And I did.
Yes, you.
Yep. That happened with me too. You can't. So, of course, Kelsey's family, Lloyd's, Shoemakers, like, you can't miss half of those folks. So, like, I went from having, because I'm an only as well, and I was adopted, and all of my other family members lived far away. So, like, Thanksgiving was us going to somebody else's house. And so, like, I didn't have these familial things when I was growing up. And so going to the first Thanksgiving dinner with, 40 people at it was sort of like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know what Enneagram that person is, but that's who I was. Because I was like, man.
I can't believe we've not had an Enneagram conversation.
Yeah, we probably we may have. And I feel like I've taken
kids went
every one of those personality tests over time. So,
I'm an ENFP.
Me too.
Are you a 3 or a 1 wing?
I wing more 3.
Okay.
But my 1 comes out sometimes.
Yeah.
This episode will come with a decoder ring for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. You have to send in 5 box tops of Cheez-Its. And your
Boulder, Colorado.
Pueblo, Colorado. That's right.
It's always Saturday morning. Send your box tops to Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, man. It's funny. They don't even do that anymore, but they make you, like all the sweepstakes, they make you show your receipt. And I was always like, I wonder if I could just like keep a receipt from like 6 months ago and if it would work. I was like, I don't have that much energy anymore. When I was a kid, I had all that energy to steal those box tops and junk like that. Go to my friends' houses and cut them off the top because I wanted that one Batman thing or whatever. So, but
the Dick Tracy decoder ring.
That's right. It was usually some sort of sports card, like a baseball card or a football card or something like that. So
then when you got it, you were always disappointed. It was like never what the big deal as you thought it was going to be.
We don't need to take her valuable time with us reminiscing about the good old days. I'm super excited that you came on.
Yeah, this has been fun.
One, you're filling a great, I think you're 100% about delivering hope, and a message of unity is so necessary and needed. We may get it from a national source, but we're not getting it from a lot of people on the local level. So I really respect it. And I think you've done a great job with it so far. I hope you keep doing what you're doing because I think it's fabulous. And hey, if you ever have any questions about technical things, you can ask Marty.
Yes, he's been amazing. I want to publicly say that he, just brag on him a little bit because in the beginning of all of this, I told Chloe, I said, okay, I need to know. I mean, the technical stuff is where I'm like, it's way over my head. I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, you should reach out to Marty. And I said, okay. So I sent him a message and we met up, and I remember telling a friend afterwards, I said, he was just such a dad about everything. He's like, here, let me just take care of you and I'll help you. And here, let me do this. And just the whole conversation was so encouraging. And so here, everything that I have to help you, I will give to you to help.
Oh man. I cannot wait to use that. That is amazing.
I do have 2 daughters. So it's a natural thing.
It's true. I agree.
It just comes out sometimes. But I go back to our conversation at Roast that day. I get excited about people who get passionate about something. And if it's similar to what I enjoy doing and I'm passionate about, then, that 5-minute conversation that we probably could have had and taken care of everything we needed to lasted 60 minutes because of that was important that that conversation happened the way it happened. And I wanted to make sure that it's so easy to say, I want to do this. And then 6 months later, I still want to do this. And then 3 years later, you're like, why didn't I do that? And I could tell that you wanted to do it. And I wanted to make sure that you had all the encouragement you needed to make it happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need a little nudge.
Yeah.
And then if it was me letting you borrow a couple microphones, then
Whatever.
right?
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
And if you need somebody to write a couple jokes for you, I can probably do that too.
Mike's good at that.
That's all I can
So
offer.
if there's ever a week that I don't have somebody, you can just pretend to be a pastor and come on and we'll do that.
I don't know that I could pull that off. I'll do the best I can. What can I tell you?
Pastor Mike.
Well, Alana, Beverly, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Give everybody the info where you can find the podcast, the name of it again and everything. So that way we don't forget.
It is Pour It Out with Alana Beverly. It is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I think that's it. I have not figured out Stitcher. I thought it was uploaded on Stitcher and it's not. So it's on those three for sure.
Stitcher, are we?
Yeah, we are. But
okay.
I'll tell you that all of your downloads come from Spotify, Apple, Google. Really?
Yeah, those have been the three main ones.
A few random ones that come in, and it's usually the same people that just decided they were in that app for something else and decided to listen to us from there. Yeah.
And I don't know if you put your email out there or whatever. Don't do it on this program because, as we have found, your email will be inundated with people who want to sell you stuff about your podcast.
Oh,
so.
Sure.
Fantastic.
That's my advice to you. That's the helpful thing that I can give you because
Perfect.
I put podcast host in my LinkedIn biography and I have never been so inundated with so many requests on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you and I have issues.
That's right.
So you're on notice.
And I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I am working on a website. We'll be launching that in January.
See, now you're super cool because we don't even have our own website.
Yeah,
Look at that.
We've not gone that far yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're hoping to maybe add video to this and become YouTube.
I have a face for podcasts.
Yeah, I do too. So that's why I'm like, maybe
Marty wants to
we'll
do this, so we're going to do it. Marty's a big YouTube guy now, so
I'm not a big YouTube guy, but
you're huge. You're huge.
Yeah. It's all right. I can take it. This is what happens. This is what happens when we haven't sat down in a conversation
That's 100%
for about
right.
a month and a half. So, man, thanks for coming in. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it all